So you got your Bama shirt on today.
Yeah, he a straight Bama today.
Yusuf.
Yeah.
He a straight.
But guess what though? I'm representing twice. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Your Michigan shirt. Ain't you a Michigan fan too? You?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Really, we about that life now.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Michigan haters, they just working on Iman right now.
I guess if you're airing me out, I'm a Bungles fan too.
Bungles.
Cincinnati Bungles.
Yeah,
Bungles. Yeah, he
going around weird. Alhamdulillah, I guess we live.
Don't worry about him. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about him.
I guess we live. I'm still trying to apply this coconut oil on my skin, glisten up. Alhamdulillah,
you shining.
Oh yeah, trying to shine.
It's time. We're live.
Episode
We're live.
16.
That's right.
Live. This it. It's called this.
Idiot.
This the educated black man.
Yeah.
Episode.
So we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it every white man's fear. That's what we're gonna call it.
I was about to wear my Ice Cube America's Most Wanted shirt, but I didn't Ice Cube before, so I'm gonna go with the other Negro they hate. The flashy Negro. Flashy educated Negro. You know, I hate that one. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the king. You don't feel me, but alhamdulillah. This is episode 16, I believe. 16. Just like that. Whew. It's almost over for season 1. And we brought in some heavy hitters, some PhD brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Solid, grounded. You know what I'm saying? What they say, they not part of the boule. That whole boule thing. He part of the boule, brother.
They're right here. Look at us looking all official. CNN.
Yo, silly man.
Alhamdulillah, man. We got brother doctor. We gonna make it back when y'all address them. Y'all put that doctor in front of their names.
Yes, doctor. Yusuf, you gotta go back, log in and say Dr. Yusuf. So you be playing yourself with that. Doctor. DR. You know how to spell it? DR.
And it's humbling if you was a lame. I mean, it'd be like it'd be something else if you was a lame, but you earned that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you earned it, man. You needed to
with that doctor friend, you earned that, man.
You just had that conversation too.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right.
Y'all want me to log out and log back in for real and put
No, you good, bro. Don't do it. No, somebody probably can do it for you. Let me see if I can do it.
You need to do that. It's a visual thing. You know, we're a visual people.
We're gonna get into that too. I can't wait to get in that because I got something to talk about.
Oh,
there we go.
As do I.
Yeah, I'm gonna put
it.
Hold on.
All right, y'all. So alhamdulillah, we are on. Said, hold on. What we holding on for? We live, episode 16 again. America's Nightmare. I'm gonna name this episode America's Nightmare.
That's right.
You feel me? Educated black men who bought that action. You know what I'm saying? All type of fear in them devils. You feel me?
It's a devil.
So we always come in. We start off with the opener. You know, Fatiha, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Ameen. Allahu Akbar. All right, we all. How y'all feel? How y'all brothers feeling?
Alhamdulillah, man.
I need a little more. I need a little more. Oh, okay. That's it right there.
This is like our New Year's Eve party. You feel me?
It's been a long time coming.
We waited the whole time, the whole year for this one.
Make sure y'all share the video.
Our number one sponsor.
We want y'all to put the video out there, man. So y'all share it and invite y'all peoples. if y'all can right now. But on the other end, yes, long time coming. I want to shout out to my original sponsor.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He saw an episode. He said, man, what can I do? I not like that, but we're trying to get sponsors and stuff like that. He said, man, what y'all need? And he's like, I told him what it was, and off the top, he did it.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? That's a man. I mean, that means somebody believe in you. When you got a sense of a hope, you know what I'm saying? Support from people that put that work in and they grind from the mud. You know what I'm saying? And they invest in other people that grind from the mud. The only thing you can do is shout them out, man. So I want to shout out Dr. Khalid, man, for
always
putting that work in, man, and supporting Good Vibes with the Good Brothers. And I hopefully next season you continue to support, sponsor, and invite others in the field. You know what I'm saying? Whatever field it is, invite us, tell us the good things that we got going on, man, because this is like important. I believe it's important for just seeing this visual right here. And again, we're gonna touch on that a little bit, but this visual right here is so important.
Now we see the doctor.
Young black men, you know what I'm saying? Especially, and I'm gonna keep it a young black man that's out here like in survival. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a shot. You feel me? Like I want to show they got a shot. So we're gonna get jumping to that. But alhamdulillah, I'm your brother Jermaine.
And I'm your. Go ahead. And I'm your neighborhood friendly good doc, Leem Naeem. Alhamdulillah.
And again, welcome to Good Vibes of the Good Brothers. Alhamdulillah. We got Dr. Yusuf and Dr. Khalid.
El-Hakim. Black history. The father.
The big dog.
Not the father. And non-child support paying father, the father, like everybody in the house.
My father, grandfather.
Black history.
The original ancestor.
101 mobile museum. This brother around things that y'all looking at as scraps, he turned into artifacts, and now he made a whole career out of it. And the thing about it, these things are not just little bitty things that back of our mind we wouldn't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? But he picked them up, dusted them off, and made a career out of showing history. You know what I'm saying? Showing history that things that the average person will forget about. Made a career out of it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Again, it's just motivating for people to know that you can always make something out of nothing. To you, because it's nothing to you, but it's something to somebody else. That's right. You know what I'm saying? And now he going around teaching the world about our history. And I love it that you put that foundation on hip hop. We from that scene, you know what I'm saying, Doc? We from that scene, and the history. You can't talk about American history without talking about hip hop. Matter of fact, you can't talk about pop culture no more without talking about hip hop. Hip hop is the foundation of the culture for the last 40 years. Let's keep that all the way legit. And so you built your scene off of hip hop, and then just added it on for that's just an example of people who go on saying this foolishness that we ain't got no culture. We the culture.
We are the
culture.
The culture.
You know what I'm saying? So alhamdulillah, man, that was just a little introduction. But again, Dr. Khalid, he from Detroit. You from the West Side, right?
Well, yep, Northwest, 8 Mile Schaefer.
Yeah, West Side. Yeah, that's a different West Side. You ain't from like the real West, like Zone 8, nothing.
Yeah, that's what it's actually 7 zones, but that's okay.
Yeah, probably from the West Side. You know what I'm saying? It's cool.
That's more 4 or 5-ish. 4.
Man. Well, give us a little history of yourself. Introduce yourself to the people, and
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum to everybody. I'm honored to be here, man. First of all, I want to say that this show that you all are doing is so important, man. I've been following you all for a minute. I'm honored to be able to support what you all are doing, man. You all are bringing some heavy hitters together and really debunking these ideas of what people believe Black Muslims or Muslims are. You know what I'm saying? The diversity of voices and perspectives and colors of folks and flavors of folks is just amazing. So I'm really, really proud to be here with you all today. But I was born and raised in Detroit. I'm a product of the Detroit Public Schools. I went to Verner Elementary, Beaubian Middle School, Mumford High School, class of 88.
You had it rough.
Proud graduate of Ferris State University. You know what I'm saying? Ferris State was a beautiful experience for me. It's where I first got introduced to looking at how artifacts could be used to teach. My sociology professor was David Pilgrim, Dr. David Pilgrim, who founded the Jim Crow Museum of Racist Memorabilia, which is internationally known. And but it was after taking this class in 1991, almost 30 years ago now. So next year I'm celebrating 30 years of collecting Black memorabilia. So, I just had an amazing experience at Ferris State as a student. Ferris State was also the place where I honed my skills in terms of the entertainment business, because I was a part of the student programming board, and it was our duty to bring in the entertainment to campus. So we brought in the comedians, the hip hop artists, the rock and roll artists, and all types of entertainment. So early on in my entertainment career, I was meeting people like Joe Rogan, who ended up doing Fear Factor and all those other shows after that. But people like Joe Rogan, we had Bill Cosby come up to Ferris State. We tried to get 2 Live Crew up there at one point, and that didn't happen because the community was not ready. Big Rappers was not ready to have 2 Live Crew on campus. But that was during the whole the whole censorship, and this was also pre-Islam for me. But it was a great experience. But through that experience, I ended up connecting with the Last Poets. I started an entertainment company that was a management company early on. So the Last Poets were my first clients, and after connecting with them, I came back to Detroit. I became a teacher. Started working in the hip hop community in Detroit. I met Proof, who at the time I met him, he was a part of 5 Elements. And at the time I met him, he asked me if I did management. And Jermaine, going back to the concept and the power of hip hop, I had no experience managing anybody at the time. But one of the brilliant things and one of the genius things about hip hop culture is that it allows you to be anybody that you claim that you are, as long as you show and prove that's who you are. You know what I'm saying? So when Proof asked me to be his manager for 5 Elements, I said, yeah. And because I was working with the Last Poets at the time as a booking agent, one of the first gigs I got for 5 Elements was opening up for the Last Poets at the University of Michigan. This was back in 97, 98. But after I did that for them, it was on and popping. You know what I'm saying? They believed in me, and I've been working with them really ever since. You know what I'm saying? I still work with Thyme, still in contact with Thyme and Mud. I taught in the Detroit Public Schools for 13 years. I taught social studies, and through that occupation, I just honed my skills as a teacher. I use artifacts in the classroom to engage my students. But on top of that, I brought in hip hop and hip hop artists into the classroom. I related with my students through a hip hop lens. I had my students read Jessica Care Moore's first book. You know what I'm saying? I brought Jessica to class early on in her career. I brought Proof to class quite a bit. So I was always that combination of hip hop, social studies, entrepreneurship was always a part of my experience. In 1995, Minister Farrakhan called 1 million Black men to Washington, D.C. In the city of Detroit, we almost had 80,000, I believe it was, that came from the city, came from Michigan, that went to the Million Man March. When I came back from the Million Man March, what was once a private collection of just artifacts I just had for myself and was kind of sharing with my students at the time, became a public exhibit where I used to bring out to the into public spaces. First, I think the first group I ended up connecting with when I came back from the Million Man March was Malik Shabazz's group. He had the New Black Panther Party and the New Marcus Garvey movement in Detroit. So I used to go around to his weekly meetings sharing artifacts. And from there, when people saw the work that I had, it just kind of grew from there, man. I mean, after that, I was going to churches and to other community organizations to start going to college campuses, and it just kind of grew from there, man. And I mean, the rest is really history, man. But I can get into some of the other hip hop stuff and some more of the travels later on. But I just wanted to give y'all a foundation of where I got where I am. So,
what a foundation indeed. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. My good brother, Doctor Sir Yusuf. Yusuf, I met Yusuf last year. I met him last year, and remains on him a little longer than me. What I saw right from the beginning was a diamond in the rough. The dude's got the first. This dude has a doctorate and got the first known that I know of study of internal, like within the community, racism within the Islamic community, based on his interviews and experiences in Chicago, Illinois. I've never seen. So it's one of the most talked about things. Oh, Arabs, blacks, Pakistan, all that stuff. But I've never seen an actual scientific research study about it. People have talked about articles and things like that, but this dude did it. And he's got a whole bunch of other jewels. He was pulling out papers and different things that he was doing on West Africa. Oh yeah, here I wrote this 27-page thing on the last 500 years in this country. And I'm like, man, this dude, you need to be out in front. So this has been a long time coming, and I wanted some type of platform, so that the people could finally see him. You teach in what is it? But Bethune
Cookman.
Yeah, Beth Cookman. I know it's Beth. Sorry, and Beth Cookman. Students love him. He loves his students. Black history, all types of stuff, and Muslim through and through. So I just want to, one of the most sincere, clean, clear, passionate brothers, loves his people, and his people love him. And just want you to put a little sprinkle and frosting on top of that, Yusuf. Doc, good Doc. And I don't call a lot of people good Doc. There can only be one, but I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you today. So what's going on, good Doc?
Oh, not much, man. I have to say I'm impressed with the introduction you gave me. I hadn't really thought much about it on those lines myself. The irony is the work that I did on interracial relations in the Muslim community, and it was actually Champaign in East Central Illinois, not so much Chicago.
Oh, okay, not Chicago. Okay, sorry.
But ironically, that was suggested to me by the person that was my dissertation chair at the time. Initially, what I was doing when I came out of University of Alabama, I was doing research on this phenomenon called post-colonial ethno-religious conflict in West Africa.
You gotta break that down, bro. That's a lot of big words.
Yeah, it's initially it was all about the I was looking at the Mai Tatsini riots of the late 70s and the early to mid 80s, and as I began to research more about it, I started to find out that Islam had more of a kind of a pronounced role in it. But post-colonial Africa, Islam was more than a religious identity. It actually carried ethnic and social, political, and economic connotations with it as well. Mm-hmm. So I believe it was 2014. I'm over at the classroom building. Dr. Khalid knows what I'm talking about. I'm up on the 4th floor and I'm talking to my advisor, and she calls in and says, "We have a problem." I said, "What?" She said, "You are not going to Nigeria. The embassy just blew up. There's all types of instability there, so there is no way you're going to go. You need to find something else to do." And so it started this very awkward and uncomfortable dialogue. And she says, "Well, you seem to be very into studies of race and critical race theory and things like that." She said, "Why don't you look at the experiences of Black Americans in the Muslim community?" And she actually suggested it to me. I had talked about it, but had no idea of how to approach that type of topic. And unfortunately, my leadership didn't necessarily know how to do it either. I think it may be the only type of project that's ever come out of that department before. So what I did was I started listening to a lot of khutbahs. I started doing a lot of reading, and slowly but surely, based on my own experience at the Central Illinois Masjid community in Champaign, well, actually in Urbana, which is right next door. I actually just built this project out of that, and I did some interviews with some of the elder members of the Muslim community, the Black Muslim community in Champaign, Urbana, and I went over to Decatur, Illinois, and spoke with two gentlemen over there, and it was just really. I'd always known that your elders give you an essence and a perspective that you're not necessarily going to get from a textbook. I've always known that, but to do this type of project and it's kind of influenced the way I understand things even to this day. I'm actually in the process of taking the first chapter, where I took a lot of the interview discussions I did about identity, and I'm in the process of trying to shop that around for publication at this point. I'm going to try to break it up into 3 different things. At this point, I'm focusing on the whole identity element of it because, like I said, once you dig into it, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, the more you realize you don't necessarily understand the way that you thought you did. And the more unique and nuanced the Islamic narrative is historically for the Black Muslim community. And I think as much as we recognize that, we still tend to underappreciate that at times.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Let's jump in because I got some stuff there.
Oh yeah, I'll let you roll.
You want me to roll?
Yeah.
Then let's do this. Dr. Khalid, we got a lot of things happening in the world today, right? We got all types of isms and spookisms and fears and tears and all types of stuff and things like that. All right. So there's so much noise happening around people, but I want to know from you, with everything that you know, and you've seen a lot. You've seen the world was very real in the 80s. It was really real. There's a lot of, a little more cutthroat with certain things, crack in the community and all this other stuff. What do you think the people need to be focusing on in our community? What do we need to be prioritizing, paying attention to, moving forward? You got all this experience, all these things. I've seen the slave shackles. I've seen the white man fountain signs. I've seen the newspapers. I've seen the stuff with the little leash on the little black girl, treating her like a toy and all that. I've seen this stuff, and people think this is gone, and people think that it's there. Obama came, and LeBron's a billionaire, and Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan. We all good and things like that, and Corona killing every fat person. It ain't just black people, and all this other stuff. What do our people need to be focused on? Because there's so much on these screens right now. What does Dr. Khalid El-Hakim say need to be our priority right now?
Our number one priority as Black people should be our relationships to our families. Is number one.
Yes.
And that's key, simply because if your families are not together, everything else falls. If we look at society and we see that in societies, we have 5 social institutions. We have the family, we have education, we have economics, we have government, and we have religion. All right. If I put this into a historical context and think about the Black experience in America, those 5 social institutions were taken away from us via the transatlantic slave trade and our experiences on the plantation. Those were destroyed. We had none of that, right? So fast forward, and I'm going to skip over a lot, but we kind of know what white supremacy and racism did to our people, all right? And I want to bring this to my personal experience and bring this to Detroit. All right. Ooh. So in 1930, this strange individual comes to Detroit and teaches Black people in the community about Islam, right? And one thing that he does that is not given enough credit for is once this man, Elijah Poole, gets this information and he starts teaching Black folks, the first thing he does is address those 5 social institutions.
Yes, he did.
Family.
Yes, he did.
You all need to stop drinking, stop fornicating, stop doing X, Y, and Z. Here's the FOI, here's the MGT. That first social institution. You change people's relationships overnight because of that, right? In 1933-34, I believe, a bunch of students started leaving the Detroit public schools, going into this new school system called the University of Islam, right? So you address education. We cannot depend upon anyone else to teach our babies except for us.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Right, or if they don't treat you right, they ain't gonna teach you right.
Woo.
Number 3,
I gotta write that one down.
Economics. He said, we already know, do for self.
Do for yourself.
Do for self. All right. Number 4, government. We have to separate ourselves, if not physically, mentally, from these folks, and we need to be under our own policies and discipline, right? All right, nation of Islam.
That's right.
All right.
And then finally, what is our original religion? Islam. We are the original man, right? So these concepts were very, very important, and early on, it shook us into a new way of thinking under the system. It was very, very unique for us as an experience. And we know the Nation of Islam, we know that history. I'm not going to go through all that history. But something very significant happened in 1975 with that transition. And Imam Muhammad Muhammad taking over the leadership of the Nation of Islam. And that caused a huge rift. And we know that. And we know that history as well. Well, it's important that we talk about that history without destroying and throwing away all the meat and essence of that. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at this history and with that question that you asked, I think about those 5 institutions and where those 5 institutions are for the Black man and woman in America right now, right? So where are our families at right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's our educational institutions right now? Where's our economy right now? Where are we at in terms of government right now? All right, you know, and it's interesting that Detroit was at ground zero in terms of voting this year. Black folks, we put Biden in the office, and we can't get that.
Right.
And our vote is important, and we need to let folks know that our vote is important, right? And we need to hold them accountable for our vote. We can't give votes away for free.
That's right.
So we deserve something from this government, right? So we have to hold them accountable. And then finally, we cannot do nothing without a religion and our understanding of what Islam is as a people. Right? So and I'll also acknowledge the people of the book, because we can't talk about Black history without talking about the history of the Black church and what the Black church meant to us. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to acknowledge that as well. But I'll end there. But that's how I see these things. Number one is the family, and you know, families look different today than they looked 50 years ago or 100 years ago, right? And I think one thing that we're tasked with, especially as Black men, is being mentors. We have to take up the task of mentoring young people. So that's a huge thing for us. So but yeah, man, family's number one. Create relationships that are sustainable and that are strong. Is very, very important. But thank you for that question.
No, thank you for that answer.
I want to jump off of that and go to the mentors part. And then I want both of y'all to answer it too, because both of y'all are educators. So as of now, like you said, you've been teaching. Say you almost 20 years. You was teaching, Doc.
Well, 13 years in DPS, but I've been teaching since 1994.
So that's middle school. That's the age when a lot of kids from the areas we from jump off the porch, right?
Absolutely.
So by that time, they and you already, I mean, you know, you was that age before. So by that time, and then back then, you know, you took on a lot of responsibility. Sometimes you got to take care of your family at 12, 13, 14 years old, right? You grew up in the late 70s and 80s and 90s and stuff like that, right? So now we're in an era where they don't got to do that, but at the same time, the violence is a little bit, you know what I'm saying, like different. And at the same time, like they still got the admirations of not being a square. You feel me? Of not being somebody that's a duck. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still don't have representation of people like yourself right in our neighborhood. We don't have doctors in our neighborhoods, right? So even I was looking at an interview, and then I was thinking back to myself 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was 19 years old. People I looked up to was either dope dealers, right? Hustlers, you know what I'm saying? Or businessmen. Like, we didn't know what a businessman was, but a lot of times the businessman was a dope boy. You know what I'm saying? They had that, you know what I'm saying? And so I think when I moved to the burbs, I got a different type of reality of like, okay, you can have a decent life without being, you know what I'm saying, putting your life on the line or put your life in danger. And one thing the nation taught me that too. Like, but at the same time, like the kids in the hood, they ain't trying to. People, when they see a regular dude, he's struggling. People can't even pay their water bill, right? So representations like and mentorship, please explain the importance of that, of getting a visual of like nobody, like people in the hood don't want to. 9-to-5 dude is not, I'll be honest with you, he is not somebody that kids in the hood looking up to. By the time they get to that age, they don't even respect them. But they do respect people with, I know for a fact, you as a kid, they do respect people with careers, you know what I'm saying, and people that have different labels behind their name. That's capitalism. Please, I want both of y'all to jump into it. The importance of visualism, of being visually intangible options for these kids, because right now they playing Call of Duty with their lives, literally. Exactly. And literally playing Call of Duty with their lives, like in the music and everything. They playing Call of Duty as their hero, right? You know what I'm saying? So can you give us like the importance of having tangible people like yourself, examples where you give these kids different options to live off, to something to strive for, drive for.
Dr. Yusuf.
While you were talking the whole time, I was thinking about when I first got to Cookman, I was doing some work on this program put together by the Black Male Initiative, in which the local school district around the university, they all had been, test-wise at least, habitually failing so long that they'd all been taken over by the state. And so I had the pleasure of working with some brilliant individuals that had an idea of writing a grant that would take juniors and seniors from Bethune-Cookman University and actually place them in these schools, and they would be assigned anywhere from 4 to 6 second, third, or fourth graders. And the idea was if these youngsters could see something different, and some youngsters, maybe their older brothers or sisters age that are in college, and basically try to give them the exposure to something different with a different mentality, different set of ideas, critical thinking, overall positivity in terms of what they're seeing in their communities. And what I argue, even in terms of what they're seeing in schools, we wanted to see what type of benefits that would yield. We looked specifically at their overall GPA. We looked at attendance and behavior. Now, in the state of Florida, if I recall correctly, you're given a 1, 2, or 3 for your behavior. I believe 3 being the best, 1 being the worst. And so after roughly, I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 months of this program, I was charged with being the data guy. I didn't actually do any mentoring myself, but I was the one in charge of getting all the data together for the report that we had to supply for the state. And what we found is that with our program in particular, students generally had a 55% decrease in absences. I believe the average was a 1.38 average grade point average increase, and at least a improvement in their behavioral marks of at least 1.1. So we saw drastic improvement in giving these young brothers, and we focused on the males primarily. It's a black male initiative. We focused on the males particularly, and these brothers, they excelled. Well, like I said, man, think about it. Even if you have a 2.2, you know, a 0.4 GPA increase, you're at over a 2.5, you're close to a 2.6. So we saw very positive increases in all the numbers statistically. The morale of the students and even the morale of some of the teachers was better. And, you know, proud of the work we had done. We put this report together, we submitted it to the state, and they defunded us. So,
Wow.
and part of, well, in all fairness, to tell the story in its totality, we were also doing this program with other schools that were PWIs. And
what's the PWI?
A predominantly white institution.
Right, okay.
For example, I believe we had Florida State in on this, and we had University of Florida in on this, if I recall. And some of the, and a couple community colleges in the Central Florida area, they didn't perform as well. And I'm under the impression they didn't perform as well because, brothers, let's be real, they didn't have as much as invested. You know, the people that you send in these side of these schools, it's very important. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that your model of success, that you're I guess your exemplar of what to be looks like you, comes from you, comes from your community, something that they can relate to. The relatability is a very important part of teaching anything, whether it be morals, values, a core subject, anything. And mentoring in general is just another word for education, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, exactly.
You're imparting that education in there, and if it's kind of like the same thing I have going on in my department. You know, I have the concern, and this is based on the assumption. I don't necessarily know anything, but based on the relationships I've formed with the students, I think a lot of times, man, if you're taking history, you're talking about history in particular, Black students tend to be a little bit skeptical about getting taught history from people that don't look like them. Because the one thing I can give this quote unquote woke generation, the one thing I can give them is that they do have a critical lens that they tend to operate with. It's not necessarily refined. It's not necessarily critical in all spaces. And in some instances, it's not critical where it needs to be. But it is critical nonetheless. And these young people, they're starting to look at their educators and look at systems in general in ways that people 20, 30 years ago didn't. And, you know, you can't necessarily pull the wool over these youngsters' eyes the same way. Right. Because man, look, young people are a lot smarter than we want to give them credit for. And so I said all that to say that the whole mentoring aspect is, there needs to be a sense of relatability to that. You have to be able to draw that common ground, because if there's no common ground that you can build on, you can't even build a framework of knowledge. There has to be something there that you can establish that, hey, you have this, we have this common ground. Let's see where we meet and let's build from there. But people from other communities, they don't necessarily have the state of mind to do that. They don't necessarily have the interest to do that. They don't necessarily see the necessity to do that.
I want you to touch on that too.
Yeah, so let's talk about representation and the importance of representation. And I'll go back to my experience growing up in Detroit. And I often tell people that growing up in Detroit in the 70s and the 80s, for me, was like growing up in Wakanda. Why is that? Everything I saw was black. All right. And you don't get a sense of the importance and the impact on somebody's self-esteem until you start traveling around the country and seeing what other people don't have. I've always had a black mayor. I've always had black city council people. I've always had black superintendent, black school board members, black police commissioner, black chief of police, black clergy, black business people in the community, black media, right? You know, when you think about Detroit,
cable.
I mean, come on, we grew up in Detroit. Watching the scene every day had an impact on us, right?
Yep.
Listening to the electrifying mojo every day had an impact on us. You know what I'm saying? And then to see Mayor Comey Young on TV, you know, every day, you know, unafraid, right? Cuss some folks out because, you know, people were tripping on it. That made a difference. You know what I'm saying? It just did. But on top of that, my experience in the Detroit public schools having black teachers had made an impact on me. You know what I'm saying? So that representation matters. It mattered because it made me want to go to college because I was the first person in my family who went to college. So, and the idea of going to college was developed amongst the folks I hung out with at Mumford, the folks I hung out with in middle school. It was a black teacher by the name of Mr. White who put me into a program in middle school called DepSep, which was a black engineers program. And my first experience on a college campus was at the University of Michigan back in 8th grade, I believe, or a summer program for DepSep. So if it wasn't for those types of programs, I wouldn't, in that type of representation, I wouldn't have had that type of support. Another thing was this. My relationship with the police as a youngster was unlike a lot of narratives that we get about the police. I was a part of a group called the Detroit Police Explorers in middle school and high school. My mentors were police officers. All right. Ideally, in talking about careers, my career trajectory was being a police officer. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a lieutenant, chief of police, something. When I left Detroit in '88 to go to Ferris State University, I got accepted into the criminal justice program. The only reason why I did not become a police officer is because once I got to Ferris, I can't say the first time, but the second time somebody pulled a gun on me was a police officer at Ferris State over on some BS. All right.
That's right.
So at that point, I said, I'm not going to be a cop. I ended up going into education. First time I had a gun pulled on me was a student at Mumford. It was on some street stuff. but that time with the police at Ferris, man, that crushed me, man. So I decided, education was a thing for me. So I ended up going to education. But yeah, representation matters, man, in a major way. And then you see it when I became a teacher and the times I've interacted and the work that I was doing with students and young folks, the mentoring I've done with people, and then traveling obviously across the country with the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and the impact that you have on people doing this type of work, man. I mean, it's invaluable. It's invaluable. Representation counts in a major way. And I'll say this too. Sometimes living in Detroit, we don't know how good we have it until you have other people tell you how good we have it. So to see Europeans coming to, but seeing Europeans and Asians come to Detroit and them seeing open land and seeing vacant buildings that we've seen our whole lives, and they come in and transform those buildings, those neighborhoods into something that we never imagined. Come on, bro. We got work to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for us to recognize that being in Detroit and in other urban areas, that we have everything that we need just in our own communities. We just have to take advantage of these things and just really go back to the basics, man, and take care again, family, economics, education. Both. We gotta get back into vocations. You know what I'm saying? We have to learn how to be electricians, plumbers, carpenters. Those trades are important. So one of my first teaching assignments when I came back to Detroit from Ferris, I taught at the Detroit Job Corps. All right, for three years prior to DPS, I taught the Detroit Job Corps. But it was in that capacity that I really learned a deep appreciation for vocations. One huge appreciation for a GED, man. I mean, I didn't know how hard it was to get a GED. Most people right now, professional people, even people with PhDs, you go take a GED right now, you might not pass that test. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's real. So I taught the GED, so I know it's not an easy test. You know what I'm saying? It was easier for me to graduate from Mumford than it was for me to go get a GED with the bachelor's degree, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So I want to know, conventionally, and talking about our community, there's some cookie cut ideologies and conventional ways of how we go about things. You talked about family, economics, education,
government,
and religion, spirituality, right? So I want, while I have you two here, you guys are seen as out of the box type of thinking people. Okay, so when I was growing up, I was told that, and I want you to pick something that we got to rethink. I was told that you go to college to get a good job. I was told that if you're if you get married and have a family and do right and all that stuff, then just the way that we pick mates. If we marry a Muslim, right? As long as they're a good Muslim, that's what Islam tells us, right? That it is that it's gonna work out and be there. In terms of business, okay, I was told that as long as you work really, really hard and twice as hard as your white counterparts, then you're going to make it. You're going to get whatever you desire financially. Religion. I was taught that, hey, your doorway and your gateway to Islam, to learning more about the Quran, to learning about the Prophet and things like that, are people who have mastered the Arabic language, and i.e. perhaps the culture. I'm wondering, education, things like that, family, marriage, community, religion, business. Are there some things that we need to rethink about how we go about telling our next generation young men? Are these all winning formulas for the majority of our people? Because it's kind of ironic. If we're talking about education, you got 3 doctors here, so obviously you would think that we would promote a certain process to do that. But I wonder, are we promoting education, or did we have a specific agenda that we wanted to get out of the educational system? I'm just wondering, is there something that kind of hits you of these conventional things that we're taught to do towards family, towards education, towards business and financial success, and towards religion? Is there something we need to be rethinking, or
That's a great question. I wish I had the answer to it. That's a great question. But yeah, it's a deep question too. I would say again, it's about expectations. We should expect our community to go to school, and because we live in this society, that whatever what we should strive for the best of this society. So if we have the opportunity to get PhDs, why not? If I could get a PhD, I'm not that smart guy. I graduated with 2.75 from Mumford. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was just having a conversation with a good friend of mine the other day. You know, in my heart of hearts, ideally, when I was at Bogan, I wanted to go to Cass. You know what I'm saying? Well, and from Cass, I wanted to go to U of M. But I didn't have anybody in my life with me having that desire to do that. I had nobody telling me what that road was like. Like how do I, you know, as a seventh grader, how do I get to Cass Tech? And you know,
let me fine tune it real quick for you. I'm not saying education or learning, Doc.
Right.
I'm talking about just going to college to go to college. I'm not necessarily saying learning.
I'm going to get to that too, because I mean,
but wouldn't that be based off
we need to know that
like,
college is not the end all to be all. You know what I'm saying? It's not. There's other options that we have. I mean, again, going back to the vocation. I mean, you know, I know people who don't have a college education, but who are doing amazing things around the country without a college education. But I know people who are millionaires who are plumbers and electricians. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do it, and even brothers who get caught up in the system, and you know who get locked down and come out and go, damn, you know, I got this history behind me. I can't get a job. But you got folks who have not let that, stop them from, moving forward in life. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have a college degree. So to put forth an idea that you have to go to college or you're not going to be successful in this life or in this society, we definitely have to rethink that. College is not necessarily good for everybody, especially right now with technology being in our hands. And how young people work technology, man, you got teenagers who are millionaires right now off of technology. So I mean, let's teach people how to take advantage of those resources that are around us. There's who's the brother in Detroit who's a hip hop artist who started buying real estate around the city. He started over in the Brightmoor district. Yeah, y'all know who that brother is? This brother, he was real popular a couple years ago, but I saw him on the news last year. But he started investing and started buying.
It wasn't Bezel. It ain't Bezel.
No, it wasn't Bezel. No, it was another brother, man. But if you do some research, find out who he is. But this brother started buying blocks of land over in the Brightmoor area. But that just goes to show you that you don't have to have a college degree. Again, going back to hip hop for me. It was really hip hop that put me on the road to looking at education the way I look at it. Not only was it hip hop, but it was also me being a Muslim and having the disposition I have in the perspective I have and appreciating what the expectation is from the community of Imam Wardeen Muhammad, from Minister Farrakhan's community. Like we should be. If education is offered to us, if that's an avenue, then we should, if we have the means, take full advantage of it, because it's our duty as Muslims living in this society to put ourselves in a position where we can help the community. That's our role and our duty. And so if I have the opportunity to make a difference like that and I don't do it, then whose fault is that? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to be held accountable? If I'm given a gift and a blessing from Allah, and I don't take advantage of it, I'm going to be held accountable for that. You know what I'm saying? So that's it for me.
What you say, Yusuf? What you say, that?
Wow, there's so much there.
How would you change things? I mean, what would you address? How would you switch it up?
I would,
if something needs to be switched up, in anything.
Well, I don't have any disagreements with anything that was said. I think that I think that maybe one thing that we can do different that may be beneficial to our community in particular, and I'll give you an example in a second. I think we need to, first of all, understand that I think the mistake that we make, and I think it's kind of I think this is something we all tend to do, and we're not necessarily conscious of it. I think we need to understand that education is more than schooling.
Expand on that.
Well, for example, if you look back in the early 20th century, all the way up into, I believe, the 60s, there was a grade given for comportment. And so basically the way you handle yourself, your level of maturity, your character, these were things that were actually incorporated into school systems. These are things that aren't necessarily useful now because we're in the age of moral relativity, where we conflate feelings with facts to such an extent that objectifiable facts are offensive. But I think that we need to just understand that education isn't necessarily schooling, because what we're doing right here, there's going to be some young brother out there, Muslim or not, that's listening to this, that is being educated by it. And this is not a byproduct of any particular educational system. This is just brothers dialoguing. I'm actually in the process of trying to connect with some friends of mine that are barbers, because I argue that the barbershop is one of the last remaining grassroots Black educational institutions we have in the community. Because at the barbershop, Black boys are taught about, ideally, taught about manhood. They're given different ideas about family, relationship, all those different types of things. And why you're getting faded up, right? So I think we need to broaden our understanding of education beyond schooling. And I also think we need to learn to, and this is also something to do, I think we draw this subconscious, not all of us, I don't think anybody in this discussion does that, but I'm talking about outside of us. They tend to segregate vocational education from intellectual education. And I think that's a problem. And because as someone that has a lot of experience with historically Black colleges, I have always been an advocate that maybe these, because look, guys, let's be real. Every person in our community is not going to be an intellectual. Everybody doesn't have the interest to be an intellectual. Everybody, and more sad than anything, everybody in our community is not given the toolkit that they need to pursue a career to be an intellectual. So with all that said, if you have these individuals out there that want to be mechanics, they want to be plumbers, they want to do heating and air, beauticians, barbers, how about we take that vocational education and fuse it into our historically Black colleges? That way, the students that want to go into, because I'm telling you, I see it a lot of times. I have, and this pains me to say this, but I'm gonna be real with you, brothers. I have a lot of students in college that don't want to be in college. Yeah. And they really can't find themselves. And what they really want to do is they want to have a job where they can just work. But it's also very important to them that they have some sort of 4-year college experience, specifically the Black college experience. Well, as someone that's a faculty member at a Black college, and no one agrees with me, just so you know, they said I was crazy when I offered this suggestion. How about we bring all these vocational education and these 2-year and 18-month certification programs? How about we bring them to historically Black colleges and attach gen eds to these 18 and 2-year to 18
creative.
That way they're there for 4 years. They get the same 4-year experience, but what they're actually interested in pursuing as a career that can actually be catered to. I feel like because we, not all black colleges, but a lot of them, I think because we've been so focused on building intellectuals, we've kind of gotten away from the spirit of a lot of historically black colleges. Because if you notice, there's a lot of HBCUs, there's a lot of A&Ms and A&Ts moved out of the 19th century. Those are vocational educations, right? A lot of the crests or I guess what you call the the symbol or the symbol for a lot of universities, a lot of black colleges, they have plows on them. Somehow between, I would say probably between the 1920s and the 1950s, we've gotten so enamored with trying to produce intellectuals, trying to compete with historically white colleges where we couldn't go. We've gotten so enamored with competing with them that we, on some level, we're not necessarily making the most of the populations we have to cater to. And so I feel like that money that these black students are spending going to the community college to learn how to do hair, to become a barber, to become a plumber, heating and air conditioning. How about we bring that to our historically black colleges and give them a 4-year experience by attaching gen eds to completion of those programs. That way they're there 4 years like everybody else, but they're not spending all this time in Cal 2, when they're trying to learn how to do a fade. You know what I mean? So I think we can do a lot more to cater to the needs of our community. And we're not necessarily doing that because we're caught up in trying to compete with white institutions and train intellectuals. Everybody's not an intellectual. Everybody's not into that. But you know what? My argument is we need those people. When I get done teaching my class, when I get done saying all kinds of things about the people that wrote the textbook that we chose for my African-American history class, it's a textbook about black history that seems to be written by white people, right? When I get done telling my students, trying to nurture that critical mind, get them to look at things and read with the third eye and be critical of the things that they're told, I need a haircut. I can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all these things are a staple of making the community work, and I think we forget that sometimes.
Right, but can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't know, man. It seems like we need to dig a little bit deeper, though, right? And so I think the answers is cool, but I think we really need to find a way to, like, again, the importance of optics. You know what I'm saying? And the importance of language that connect with the heart of our people, right? You know what I'm saying? Again, you being in hip hop, Dr. Khalid, and you, me and Si, we go back and forth all the time about your whack taste. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, but you being a 40-year-old still think it's 1984. You got to get out of there. But the thing is that we have to. I think that goes back to the mentorship, and that goes back to who teaching us, right? So the preparation for a lot of kids that gravitate towards, because I always felt like I was, because while my background coming from the nation and my father, even though he was big on education, but he was an artist, right? He was an artist, and he was like my stepmom was an entrepreneur. My mama was anybody know my mom know what she was, you know what I'm saying? So being education was cool. I agree that it's needed, but at the same time, I think everything should be based off individual basis. Like how much mentoring, like we don't even have the time. Like I had black teachers in school. You go to these schools, not all they got is white women teaching them. Right. Ooh, so when you go to the school, like I had black men. My sister principal's name was Mr. Johnson at the school. Like I went to Cooper Elementary School. Then I went to Miller Middle School, and there was another Dr. Hendricks. You know what I'm saying? We had black principals, right? You go to these schools now, it's nothing but white women and some black women. You know what I'm saying? But it's not too many men. And then you got to think about the history, right? I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? History, right? Like, do our teachers really have confidence teaching social studies the way they teach social studies now? Right? A
lot of them know.
Do they? Because they don't believe in it, right? So they just teach the curriculum. And then back in the day, our teachers just sneak in real history. It was some social studies books when we had in that. I know Nat Turner was in that book. You can't even talk about slavery no more, right? It was like, so you're not preparing these kids for reality dealing when they get outside, even with their degree. And so that's why you do got the woke era where they don't even know who to cancel. They cancel anybody who just say anything that they don't agree with, no matter how much that person look like them, and it could be for their benefit. But they think they so woke that they hard to sleep. They don't understand where it's coming from. So that goes back to the individual base, even from an economic basis, right? It's barbers. I mean, shoot, the average barber probably make more than the accountant. If you want to be honest, matter of fact, right. I'm gonna keep it. They do make more than the average accountant.
Yes, they do.
An analyst or something like that. The average barber make more than an accountant, but a barber is looked down on, right? A barber is looked down on compared to accountant. Accountant is something like everybody. I was working. I'm like, man, if I had a degree, the only thing I make is $5,000 more. You know what I'm saying? A year, it was nothing.
But right? 50.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, and the thing about it, I made more money than that in the streets in a day. You feel me? So it's like, what is giving these kids to strive for? Even the older kids, like the optics that's going on now of the Black Lives Matter and blah 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 and blah. It was this good stuff, but at the same time, like, and then what? And then what? You feel me? And so we got people like y'all that's giving us an optics, right? And I want y'all to touch on it briefly because we want to move it around, but I want y'all to touch on that, like the optics. But what exactly are y'all specifically telling people that's coming to you? Like they say, I want to be like you, want to jump into this, and you get to are y'all getting to know these kids and telling them exactly what you specifically hearing from them and giving them a right path, or are you just like? Are y'all regurgitating the same stories? I know, Dr. Khalid, I'm pretty sure you're not, but are y'all regurgitating the same story that was given to y'all? Get an education, get a job. A lot of times that job ain't nothing but debt. That education nothing but debt.
Debt. Yeah.
Hard debt. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's good for you, and for the long run, it is better for statistics tell us that. But at the same time, it's like you a lot of us is leaving the struggle to go back in the struggle. So. Like, what exactly from a heart standpoint are we doing to not just give us down the rabbit hole or the rat race?
Right. So I mean, and you know, I spent a lot of time with hip hop artists in Detroit and all around the country, and a lot of brothers are. I can say this without a doubt. Brothers and sisters are some of the most brilliant people that I've ever met in my life. They're a lot smarter than I am. But at the same time, I know a bunch of brothers and sisters who are in their late 30s, 40s, almost 50s, who are still trying to get that record deal. You know, I'm still trying to make it as a hip hop artist. Mm-hmm. I've been telling people for years, bro, brothers and sisters, go back to school, go to school. One thing that education does, even with debt, it gives you options. It gives you options. It's one thing. I mean, once you get that degree, they can't take it away from you. You know what I'm saying? I would rather be someone struggling with a degree than someone who just does not have a degree at all with a GED. But a GED is important. Having a skill set is important. As a matter of fact, with a PhD, I'm thinking about going to get a trade in something just because I don't have just things I just can't do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd love to be able to do some things around my crib right now that I just don't have the skill set to do. So it definitely education is important. You know, I encourage people to get some type of degree. It gives you options, or even, you know, going back to what Yusuf said, you know, there's a difference between education, you know, formal education and informal education. You can get you can there's certain skill sets that you can get that will give you opportunities to make money and do something for yourself and for your family. So you know, maybe even if we don't say you have to get a degree, at least get a certification, at least get something a skill set that will get you in a position to do something for self, something to make money in the society.
Absolutely.
When students come to me and say that they want to be like me, I tell them, first of all, I aim higher than that. But I also tell them that, look, guys, I think education's a beautiful thing, but it's only a beautiful thing if you can find the utility in it and find substance in it. And I feel like we've stripped a lot of the substance out of education. What I specifically tell a lot of my students is, whatever you want to do, as far as a career goes, find out how you can take that passion and make it benefit your community. I teach that. I have a student right now that's she's really hung up on Joy DeGrasse post-traumatic slave syndrome. And she wanted, and she comes to me with a lot of, for a lot of information about like different traumas that different black folks have experienced during the years. And I tell her, I said, well, you know what? Then what you can do your senior project on is find out, when you look at some of the things that we're subjected to, as far as potential mental disorders or personality disorders and things like that, or byproducts of trauma, and connect that to the Black experience. She particularly is a student that went to one of the high schools down in Florida that had a school shooting, and she survived it. And I told her, I said, well, you know what? Look at some of those students, primarily the Black ones, or Black and brown ones, and I said, and see what you can take that passion for psychology and see how it can benefit your community. I said, because we do have a tendency to undervalue, underappreciate, and overall disavow the importance of mental health in our community. So maybe you can come up with something, make it accessible to the masses of our community, and maybe get us to think differently about that. Maybe even create a means for making mental health accessible to all of us. So I teach that. Take whatever your passion is and find a way to use it for your community.
Okay, so another question is that what we gonna do now, right? We have this conversation. We got y'all two doctors. Y'all matter of fact, y'all are artists too, right? Y'all visual artists.
Yeah.
And so how can we get y'all together, right? And you do your tours, and we're gonna jump into the solution. We're gonna jump into it right quick. And y'all know each other, so y'all kind of close, right?
Yeah.
We close, all of us close, right? And we have opportunity. We have this platform, but we also got the situations where we know so much. And Dr. Khalid, we been in the trend. You know what I'm saying? We work with everybody. We work with people that our so-called religious folks don't like us working with. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The trenches.
Right.
And so, but they are those the ones who the so-called Muslims don't want us to work with, and who, because they say they not Muslim, they the ones always working. So what can we do for our specific community, right? To build on what we learned again I learned from the nation, what you learned from the nation, right? To get these teachings to our because Black Sunni Muslims in the hood is going through hell. I'm gonna keep it real. Yes. They going through there. We are the poorest of the poor. Yes. The poorest of the poor in so many from two generations is telling you education is not nothing. Generation is telling you that don't go to school, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, now you see every time I look, and I look up, I be looking, I don't say shit, you know what I'm saying? Because I was up, you know what I'm saying? I was in the field with them like that on some other stuff, right? But a lot of these kids ain't come from the 80s, and they ain't come through what I went through. They had their mom and daddy in the house, but it's not appeasable it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not appeasing to them. So now you see them online, the sisters done took all their clothes off, and the brothers is just straight up goons. You know what I'm saying? Like goons, like kids that come from good families. What we thought was what we you know what I'm saying? What we think was good families. Well, not even good families, just people that they mom and daddy been together for a minute. So, like, how are we gonna? We got to get these kids, man. So give me some. We're gonna get these young men and young women. Like, how and what are we going to do to get into these communities, our communities, to let them know that it's other options? It ain't nothing wrong with trying to rap. I encourage everybody if you want to, but other options like outside of just trying to, stunt for the gram and pull a scams. You know what I'm saying?
I think one thing that needs to happen like immediately. What can I do immediately? What can we do as a group? Let's identify those brothers. Let's get 10 of them. Let's get phone numbers. If we can be present in their lives, even just making phone calls and checking in on somebody, that makes a difference. If I would have known back when I was a teenager that I had 4 brothers who was checking on me constantly, I mean, even if I was still doing dirt, at least I knew for a fact that there was 4 brothers outside of the cats I'm seeing in the streets, my parents, my uncles, whoever, my aunt, whoever. If I knew there was 4 good brothers checking in on me on a consistent basis, then maybe I would have made some different choices in my life. You know what I'm saying? So let's identify some brothers in our community and let's stay in contact with them. Let's make some phone calls. You know what I'm saying? That's something we can do immediately. It's nothing to make a phone call.
That's true. That is true. We have to do a better job of that. Right. That's true.
What you got, sir? What you see?
I think we need to create safe spaces. I'm gonna tell y'all, like year before last, I had one of my students murdered by one of my other students, and I keep and I had really started to reach out to this particular student because and when I say safe spaces, that came to mind because this particular kid had gotten in some trouble in school. He had gotten suspended from school, had to sit out for a semester. In the process of having to sit out that semester, he got his head on straight. He was getting back in school, this and that and the other. And but in the process of trying to move in a more positive direction, cats that aren't trying to make that move with you will talk about you, and once they start seeing the benefits of the moves you're making, they become jealous. Yes. And that's ultimately what took him out. And so I think that we need to do a better job of bringing the substance of education, understanding education isn't just schooling, creating these safe spaces and the mentoring, but we also need to make sure that when we deliver the message to them that there's something else out there, that it can't stop there. Because on some level, once you deliver that information to them, you kind of got to be available for them and try to do what you can to create a safe space for them once their life starts to change. Because if you give them the message, you give them the food or whatever, and then you go back into the ivory towers and they don't hear from you and see you no more, then what? They're going to have questions on this journey. They're going to need you to be there to answer questions, tell them stories. And man, if nothing else, just be there for them to listen to them. Listen to them. Understand that, they're going to have these hard times and they're going to need people to talk to. And that's kind of the job I serve. This is what I tell people. I do more than teach, a lot more than teach. Because a lot of times the students that are in my office all day, sometimes all hours of the night, they're not talking about, John Brown and Harper's Ferry and the African institution of slavery in comparison to the transatlantic slave trade. They're not doing that. They're talking about issues with their family. They're talking about, they're sharing different traumas that they've experienced with their family that they don't know how not to reproduce. So we need to create these safe spaces for them. Me and a couple other colleagues at work, one young lady that I know of, if I have a woman come to me, with some stuff, and, a lot of times I can't help the sisters, but I got a sister here that can help you out. Just try to create safe spaces for them where they can engage in self-disclosure and have honest and true dialogue, get what they need, but at the same time also be able to provide the protection from those outside forces as well. I hope that makes sense.
No, it make a lot of sense. It make a lot of sense.
our kids are being, young men and young women are being forced to grow up and make some decisions at much younger ages than we ever had to make in our lives. That 40 and 50-year-olds would have trouble making these types of decisions. The masjids, and I can speak about the city that I'm in, I don't see a whole lot different when I hop around in other places too. The masjids over here are mostly ran in our community. You got some exceptions, but we're talking about the religious institutions. They're mostly ran by boring people. But boring, disconnected,
elitist mentality,
irrelevant,
yeah,
in the box type of people. Our little circle, and that's it. Same little 3-5 people I talk to every single day, and that's really it. You're not in that circle, you don't really mean that much. When you're supposed to be the person who's out for the community. And so the masjids that I used to see a lot of young people at, and a lot of when the parents used to drag them to the masjid, them kids got big, and they got too big to get dragged there, and they're not getting dragged there no more. And you don't see them, and it's old and crusty. It's like them trees you look at outside when fall starts coming. Just gets older and older, and the leaves are starting to fall off. And then if you have some type of line, some type of connection into the streets, and you really start talking to just some of these some of these young men, and our sisters talking to some of the sisters, you start seeing what's going on. You start seeing the hell that they're going through, and you start wondering, they start wondering, is Islam even an answer?
Yep, exactly. I did it. I went through it. You know what I'm saying?
I think a key. Oh, I'm sorry. I think a key part of that is we need to understand that, and this is one thing that the Nation of Islam did for the Black community as far as Islam is concerned, that people, in my opinion, are too slow to recognize. The Nation of Islam made being Muslim authentically Black. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that on some level, people now understand that. They now have an understanding that somehow Islam, I guess, and this kind of increased after 1975 when we got more exposure to some of the more global Muslim communities. For some reason, you got people, man, that understand Islam to be inherently culturally predatory, and it's not. And I mean, it's, I don't know if you guys have met anybody like this, but the sense of accountability, the sense of respect, responsibility, and honor and morality that is a part of being a Muslim. You got some people that have taken those things and used them in a way that has made them self-loathing Black people that just happen to be Muslim. You know what I mean? I was in the masjid one time.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
Oh, well, the same sense of honor, respect, accountability, morality, those things that are a staple of being a Muslim, some Black folks have taken those things and articulate them or practice them in a way that makes them self-loathing Black people. Exactly. And that's a very horrible thing. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience. I've been in masjids in different cities, and I meet brothers, and the brothers are up there trying to talk like this, trying to talk like that. I'm like, brother, you from Atlanta?
What brother from the West Side talking like you job time turkey? You know what I'm saying? And but you gotta think about the what that play on the psyche of your children once they get older. And now these kids are the most buck wild of buck wild, right? Exactly. And then you get somebody people who took. Like, think about me and Khalid put so many programs we gonna always talk about because it is deep, right? We put programs together. Dr. Khalid, you know what I'm saying? And because you was wrong. You seen, we implemented programs to give kids safe spaces, right? Yeah. To give kids opportunity to be themselves in the masjid, right? In the masjid, to be themselves, talk about real stuff, be real. Like, we made it tangible for them kids to be real, right? Because we already know once you go in the masjid, for the most part, you got to suppress your blackness. A lot of these masjids, even in black masjids, you got to suppress your blackness. You got to suppress your personality. You got to suppress just your being. You know what I'm saying? We did so many programs at the same time because of because of what Halim described. These people went out of there and the ego. People went out of their way to sabotage certain things. And it's don't just be what happened in Halim. Happened in Cleveland. I heard about the same thing in Cleveland. I heard the same thing in Baltimore. Hear the same thing in Atlanta. Hear the same thing. These people go out of their way because they don't have a concept of a law, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
let's just say
and the kids, but the kids come to me and be like, "Man, I missed that program. Like I miss y'all when
you know what they miss. You know what they miss. They miss somebody. They miss somebody who gave a crap about them.
Exactly.
They miss somebody who is sincere and real and cool with whatever age they are with. I don't know every song or dress exactly the way or whatever, but they knew we would lay everything down for you. Exactly. I'm gonna say this. Most of these people that go to these masjids, and I know a lot about masjids. That's almost all I know. Okay, so they make fun of me. They call me the masjid baby. Okay, because yes, I was in the masjid since I was a baby. All right, so I can talk any old way about any masjid, almost any masjid that I've stepped into because I've invested my life into this institution. Okay, let me tell you something. It's what you said, Doc. It's what you said. The issue and the problem is you either have the people who went on the shoulders, 1975, W.D. Muhammad, alhamdulillah, everything like that. And if I can be a good little then everything's gonna be okay, you know. And I'm just working at GM and Ford, and you just shine your shoes and do whatever you can, and alhamdulillah, and you know we can do our type of thing. You get these little houses and that stuff all day.
No,
okay, and you wonder why none of your kids. I'm being real. You wonder why none of your kids don't want anything to do with Islam outside of their government name that you gave them. Gerald Jihad, you know, whatever. You think I'm playing? And you wondering why these kids turn around, just got done ducking 4 and 5 bullets, looking at you like a sucker.
You a straight sucker.
Because and then what happens? What happens? They're off the path, right? Their faith isn't right? They're probably gonna go to hell. No. It's saying you're gonna go to hell and you're gonna be broke. At least I got it out here and I'm about to do something on the street right here. You over here catering and sucking on some cotton candy. I got some kids around here. You know what I'm saying? So you're irrelevant. Then you got these other jive ass, like these other niggas who were just already the lowest of the low, and wanted some level of validation.
I feel like you're somebody. Yeah,
and they don't even iron their thobes. They don't even iron the cheap ass like hand me down Pakistani kamises that they have. They look like they're gridded like some Chicago street map. You know, every time they're wearing it. Speaking, yes, I did. Yes, I said it. And they're speaking this weird type of stuff. And then they think that youth is just a concept. But I don't see one. You say you got 15 kids. I don't know one of their names. I don't know one of their names. And I can say Biggie moms, and I don't need to say them on here right now. Biggie moms that we know. And we don't know one of their kids' names. But you got 15 kids. Before Islam, after Islam, whatever. But you got enough time to be on top of something. You know? So I can sit and look and talk to some of these people when you look at these masjids, but what is being embodied? Because I don't see it in your family. I don't see it in your finance. I don't see it in the relationship you have with the streets. I don't even see it in the way you practice religion. No, I don't see it. And these kids caught onto it a long time ago too. And so now they're running out of the money.
You can't fool them.
And they should. And they should. And they should have left you. And that's why it is dead. And it's not Corona. You can say Corona. This crap was dead long before Corona.
Way before Corona.
This thing was dead before Corona.
Way before.
With that. They're not even going to click online. Go ahead.
And I think that goes back into the sentiment I expressed earlier about having safe spaces. I believe Khalid will remember this. Me and Khalid were in Juma and at Simic in Urbana together, right next to each other. And the Imam was talking about all the different things we need to make dua for going on around the world. He went from pole to pole, from country to country, but it was also the exact same day that Baltimore went up in flames, right? That was a Friday. Me and Khalid were in Juma together. He said absolutely everything about everything else, but there was no discussion of any of the atrocities going on in Africa. There was no discussion about the issues facing the Black community that by and large houses the area that the masjid is in once you get past maybe 4 or 5 blocks. And I sat, afterwards, and I kind of sat there and I looked at him. I was like, brother, did you hear that he mentioned absolutely everything else? And I think that has a lot to do with it. We need to create safe spaces in these masjids as well. You know what? I would like to believe like they can be created in the masjid, but so much goes into making a masjid, even a small one, that it's all social network and social class. What I'm gonna say is this, and there's safe spaces that can be created within itself, because remember, 13 years before the first masjid was built, they were struggling in Mecca. Wasn't no masjid in Mecca. It was just people's homes and relationships. That's all they had. That's all they had.
Some food, some bread, some water, and kicking amongst the people.
If that. In a bunch of ass whoopings, if that. Okay, so the concept of safe space may need to be revitalized here. But the thing is that happened to you in Chicago because people who look like you and me and us are not on the radar, and we tend to think this is Gumbaya, Lost in the Sauce, 1975, weak ass Muslim. Anyway, this idea of well, everybody should come and we're all Muslim and we're be together. No, you know what Allah said in the Quran?
I'm Muslim.
You know what Allah said in the Quran? And this is what Allah said in the Quran. He said, "Innamal mu'minuna," not Muslimuna. "Innamal mu'minuna ikhwa." He said the believers, Surah Hujurat, verse 9, chapter 49. The believers are a brotherhood, not Muslims. The believers are a brotherhood. So when that happens to you because you're not on their radar, well, guess what? There's a number of people that ain't on my radar either. And it's not out of a response. It's not out of vindictiveness or respect. It's actually Islamic. It's in Islam. How many of you hear the Prophet say, if you don't do this, if you don't come next door, 3 feet down the street to the masjid and pray with your brothers every day, you're not one of us. How many things that you say, if you do this, if you do these atrocities, you're not one of us. So don't tell me everything's Gumbaya. It's not. And it's based on behavior and intention. And again, going back to our young men, they see this crap. That's why they're not going there, because the real Corona is this mediocrity, stagnant, bitch assness, just submissive slavery. The second, third, fifth class, just old biryani Islam. That these people just keep running after, and that's it, and that is the Corona to them. It's better than.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I want to jump. I want to go on that, and I want to question. I want y'all to respond to, like, outside of just the mosque, but at the same time, Khalid, you was a manager. We've been in the business together. We've been around some wolves. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the way that they look at us, I really don't do it sometimes, because I ain't gonna front. Sometimes I miss the game. You know what I'm saying? I do miss it. But at the same time, be like, damn, when I was in that shit, that bring a lot of energy that you probably don't need to be around. And the odds is you probably gonna hurt somebody. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've been in those, we had to really put some work in, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just off of the energy, not even what we're doing in the streets, because niggas would want to test you, right?
Right.
So, but at the same time, by us being out of it, you know what I'm saying? We still a part of it because that's us. But being out of it to a point where we active all the time, and I do want to get back. I want to grab some artists and do this. I'll be like, damn, that energy. And these little niggas is killing for just because they saying they want to get one up on the op. You know what I'm saying? Like, like when, like hot, like for you, right? What, and we love this culture, right? How do you still, the cats still call you out the blue, be like, man, I'm proud of you, probably. I know I get out the blue, but I'll be at the same time be like, man, I be seeing them winning out here. So they got the jewelry and all that. I'm like, I'm trying to get like you. Like, what's keeping you, particularly from not jumping in the game like that, knowing that we had that type of access, and us being mentors, knowing that we are visual mentors more so than mentors with the gaudy chains and all that stuff. Because we could have been just like everybody else. Because we would have that type of connection.
My thing was, I think the turning point for me was the time and effort that I put into Iron Fist Records. When all that fell, that's when I decided that I'm gonna go a different type of way.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, although all those brothers are still my brothers, I stay in contact with most of them, and the ones I don't stay in contact with, when we cross paths, it's all love. You know what I'm saying? Proof was an interesting character, man. He was an interesting character. This brother brought together so many different people from so many different backgrounds, and because we respected him, we were forced to respect people outside of our, background. You know what I'm saying? I remember the last time I was in the mosque with Proof. It was me, Proof, Maurice Malone, and Hassan at the Muslim Center. It was January 2006, right before Proof and I went. We had just came back from Europe and we was on our way to Australia a couple months later. But I mean, just putting us together was deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I formed so many different relationships because of him. But I made a conscious decision too, man. It's hard to be a Muslim and be in those spaces, man. Because
tell me about it, bro.
There's so many different types of things going on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
and we try to give a symbol that we try to create the crescent moon, talk about niggas give money and ox. At the same time, it turns into some gang shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's easy to go left. You know what I'm saying? As we all know, it's easy to go left. But our brother Proof, he made some calculated moves that didn't go the way he planned it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, with him being on a different plane now, I mean, the folks that respected him for who he was, man. I had Muslims, man, who came to me after he was gone. Man, I can't even tell you the stories of Muslims who came to me after he was gone to tell me how much they loved and respected him. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, on some mystical type stuff, bro. I mean, amazing. You know what I'm saying? Some things I just can't even talk about now. But that also was an affirmation to me in terms of not only who he was, but who I am and where I want to be in terms of just life in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got affirmation that there's certain roads that I don't want to go back down anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely not going down certain roads. You know what I'm saying? And for the relationships I have and for the circles I run in and out, there's a certain way that I'm calculating the way I move. And because, I mean, there's a lot on our shoulders as Muslims. There's a lot on a brother's shoulder with these letters behind my name as well. Yep. You know what I'm saying? For me to claim to be who I claim I'm trying to be, there's certain things that you just can't do anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's just like certain places that I'm not going to go, certain things I'm not going to do. But at the same time, I'm going to be there for my people always. You know what I'm saying? I still get phone calls today from people, from back in the day. So it's like I'm always going to be accessible. And you'll never find somebody from those circles who say that Khalid's on some other shit because he's not accessible.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, one initiative that I've done to make sure that not only Proof's name is secure, but everybody's name is secure. You know what I'm saying? Is the Michigan Hip Hop Archive.
Yeah.
Like here's a resource that's telling the stories of all of us. Everybody who's participated in hip hop in Michigan, we have a platform to tell our stories and from our unique point of view. And we have a space where our artifacts are preserved and collected. It's on the campus of Western Michigan University. So if you want to know about Islam and hip hop, and from the Michigan perspective, we got a place where we can tell our story.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I want you to start because we go back and forth, right? We go back and forth on this rap, you know what I'm saying, on hip hop and that rap. We always talk about rap, but rap is just a smidgen of the culture. So I think the vocal, because poetry is so powerful, but the culture in itself is so much broader than just rap. Rap get us in a lot of trouble, but hip hop saves so many of us. Let's say that. Rap can get you a lot of artists in a lot of trouble, but hip hop as a culture saved a lot of us and made a lot of our families. Took a lot of our families out the gutter, right? And so we go back and forth. Like, so you give me a perspective of being an educator and being a student of the culture, and how, you know what I'm saying, without and bridging to making those bridges without being a cornball.
Now, see, you're laughing because you frequently call me a cornball.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What they do.
I think my journey's a little bit different because as you guys know, I went to private schools, came from a very middle class background, educated family. Mother's a trained English teacher, and my father's an engineer. My experience was a little bit different, but I can say that I had an older brother who brought me to Islam. He was in the nation, and he was also a DJ. Now, mind you, guys, it's like 1991, 1992. I'm in maybe third or fourth grade, something like that. And I'm hearing Poor Righteous Teachers. I'm hearing Rock This Funky Joint, but then I'm hearing Shakila. Then I'm hearing Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos. I'm hearing Motherland by Big Daddy Kane. And then around this time, that early 90s period is also when Ice Cube started getting big into the nation. I'm starting to hear I'm starting to hear stuff like stay true to the game, this and that and the other. So what it ended up doing for me is I was through hip hop, I was given that hip hop consciousness without necessarily being exposed to the environment that bore hip hop, if that makes sense. And so I'm taking this to school, getting in trouble with it because of the nuns and all that other stuff. And I think that's I use hip hop a lot to teach my students. Like, as a matter of fact, I have a class that I do when the class is kind of burned out, because I hit them with a lot of stuff. We have a day where we just watch music videos. And what we do is the extra credit assignment I give them is it's just, because my thing is we keep everything black. This is a black college. This is a black history class. Everything black. Everything else don't matter. We matter here. That's all that matters here. And so what I have them do is I will show them Millie Jackson. I will show them I'm Black and I'm Proud live performance by James Brown. I show them The Night Train. Then I go from that to Grandmaster Flash, The Message. And then, of course, that's after that. That's kind of when I go into that mid 80s point. I show them some Millie Jackson. I show them Salt and Pepper, Shake Your Thing. I show them UNITY. So I just kind of generally move up and we just talk about the different changes in the music. And the favorite video that I have in that lineup is I show them Skin I'm In by Cameo. Now, mind you, this is not necessarily all just hip hop, but it's the reason I'm relating these things is because there's a lot of discourses that are common in hip hop now that had their origins in that particular type of music. And And one of the things that I asked them about is, and I think I stopped in like the early 2000s. I showed them Just to Get By, by Khalid. Just different types of music, different types of stuff like that. And I asked them, I said, well, what? And then I put on some of their music. I'll put on some Young Thug or some Kodak Black. Getting a headache saying it, but
missing out.
But I asked them, based on the imagery and the discourses that are promoted in the music you're listening to, what type of generation is it going to create? And I basically just get them thinking about those things so they can actually apply that same critical lens we use in history to the music. Because hip hop, it's kind of like KRS One said when he talked about edutainment. Hip hop has lost a lot of that edutainment element. And,
from a mainstream, we got to correct that. I get it to people all the time. From a mainstream perspective, it have. But
from a mainstream,
you still got Kendrick Cole and Drake. You still got different artists who are the mainstream. But the same, because I don't like this narrative because it's not. If you grew up in hip hop, you know for a fact it's not true because it was balanced back then. For every poor righteous teacher, you had 2 Live Crew. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
For every Queen Latifah, you had Choice. Remember Choice? Dr. Khalid. You had them. So it wasn't like it was this big utopia of educated Negroes kicking 5% and what's the name? For KMD, you had Tim Dog. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
that's
real.
So you're right.
So it was a balance mainstream wise.
Yeah. And it's more appropriate to say that there was more space in pop culture for that type of hip hop. There's not space for that now.
For funkin' lessons. You know what I'm saying? You can have Gangsta and play funkin' lessons in the same playlist. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Because I even argue that if you listen to Compton's Most Wanted, I argue that they were underappreciated conscious rappers. If you listen to some of the stuff that they're saying, absolutely. Yeah. So I guess the beauty of hip hop, as far as I'm concerned, in its role in all of this, is that even with me being for the most part isolated from the space that hip hop grew out of, I still got a lot of those hip hop sensibilities because I was listening to the music, and my older brother, who was in the Nation at the time, was actually convincing me to listen to what they're saying because he said, you know what, you go into these schools, and he said, kid, you're too white. And he would just put me in the back of the Grand Prix, and we just ride around listening to music. And I was from that point, I was Chuck D'd out from 2nd grade on. So that's the road that hip hop had for me.
We going to the questions.
Questions, right? Yeah, we got some questions.
We at the 145 mark, and we try to, try to get the questions from the people, interact with the people. Also, we got to shout out again our sponsors. Then we got to shout out Dr. Khalid, you here, right? So before we go into this question, you are our original sponsor. Give us a selling point to the people why you sponsor, and then tell them more about about your business and why should they contact you and get this education from you and pay you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I supported your work just based upon the importance of conversations like this. We have to, a part of all the issues that we brought up today in this conversation, all of these things have to be addressed at some point due to dialogue. We have to have some type of dialogue. The first step in solving all these issues is communication. We have to reach out and take the initiative to address these issues. And one thing that you all are doing right now is creating a platform to at least get the ball rolling. So when I saw what you all were doing, I said, I got to put my support behind this in any way. As a matter of fact, I want to be the first to support the next season as well. So count me as number one. And you all didn't charge me enough. I'm doubling what I gave y'all this year. So I'm doubling that. Unless y'all gonna make me triple. Now I ain't gonna triple.
I mean, you want triple? Let's go ahead.
I don't believe that much.
But we have to support any good initiative that's happening in our community. All right. If we claim that we have as Muslims the best community, that we have the excellent community, then we have to show and prove that's what we are. So when we see initiatives like this happen, we have to support it. We have to put our money where our mouths are. All right. So I'm definitely going to support you all with that. And the work that I do with the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, this is my life's work. My life's work has been going out and finding artifacts that reflect our contribution, our achievement, the obstacles that we've been faced in the Black experience in America. All right. So over the past 30 years, I've collected over 10,000 artifacts, original artifacts that date from the transatlantic slave trade to hip hop culture. And I just want to share one piece with y'all real quick that I can, so you all have an idea of the type of things I've come across in my line of work. This right here, you might not be able to see it all, but can somebody read what that
is? Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that the Superior Court begun holding at the city of Cambridge, is said of Middlesex on the 1st of Monday of February in the year 2046. Move it to the right a little bit. The jurors of Commonwealth of Massachusetts and on their oath present the Beatrice Batarian Cora Beatrice Batarian Cora Matarosa Malcolm.
So basically, that's the
This is the original court.
Yeah,
this is the original court document
from Malcolm and Shorty.
From Malcolm and Shorty. You just read the white women's names. This is the original document that sent Malcolm and Shorty to prison. All right, that's the original court document. So when I talk about I've been blessed in terms of this work, there's no way that brother from Detroit, first of all, can just say, well, I want to create a mobile museum and just leave my job and just do this full time. But on top of that, there's no way that type of document should have ended up in my hands. All right. But several years ago, I got a phone call from a white gentleman up in Massachusetts who purchased a storage unit. And in that storage unit was all the personal effects of Malcolm Shorty Jarvis. I purchased that whole storage unit in partnership with the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation in Omaha, Nebraska. We both went in and we both knew that it was important to get it, and we both came up with 50-50 percent of the money to make the purchase. And I sent all those artifacts to Omaha, Nebraska. So Shorty's whole archive has been in Nebraska since, I don't know, the mid 2000s, I believe. But this is probably one of the most important, documents that represent Malcolm's life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't get something as authentic that tells that story of Malcolm X than a document like this. But besides that, I've got Shorty Jarvis's personal scrapbook that documents Malcolm's life through the Nation of Islam and up to his assassination. People know that Shorty was a jazz musician. Malcolm talks about Shorty writing a concerto in prison. I've got the actual concerto that he wrote in prison and his trumpet. You know what I'm saying? So having artifacts like this to tell our stories, talk about getting our young folks engaged in wanting to learn about history, put something like that in front of them and talk about Malcolm and make those connections for them. That information will always sit with them after an experience like that. I've got documents that are signed by George Washington Carver, Mary McLeod Bethune, Angela Davis, Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, Huey P. Newton. I mean, you name it. You know what I'm saying? The most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So to have an archive like this of material and to be able to share that publicly with people is something that is really, truly a life-changing experience for people that come to see this type of material. So I could easily collect this stuff and just, like many people do, and just collect it and just keep it in my private home and just put it on my walls and just let people come over and see it, or just keep it just for myself. But that's not what the work is. You know what I'm saying? It's like we know the condition of our people and the level of ignorance that we have in our communities. So it's our duty to teach our people. You know what I'm saying? The Smithsonian, prior to the African American Museum, was not teaching our people on this type of level. You know what I'm saying? And other museums around the country was not making artifacts like this accessible publicly to our people. You know what I'm saying? So I see myself in the same legacy as a Dr. Charles Wright, who early on in his career was bringing the artifacts to the people. He didn't have a physical space for a while, so he had a mobile museum. He was taking artifacts to the people. Dr. Margaret Burroughs in Chicago, she was opening up her home and bringing people in and having dialogue and bringing people like James Baldwin to her home to have conversations. People like Paul Robeson to our home to have conversations in public, so that we can get a sense of history. Again, if we're not having these types of dialogues with people, then we're going to continue in the cycle of being the cycle of ignorance over and over again, man. So again, I'm proud to say that I can support efforts like this, and I've been blessed to do this work so I can support you all. But if people want to reach out to me, they can reach out to blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. And I want to address Brother Hanif's question real quick. Please. How can we make striving to be a doctor cooler than wanting to be in the streets? Brother, we really just have to, well, let me put it like this. We've been told a huge lie in terms of PhD work or becoming doctors. We've been told a huge lie. And the lie is that this stuff is not attainable for brothers and sisters from the city of Detroit or brothers and sisters from Alabama. Like people who look like me who wear sweatshirts and hoodies, we ain't supposed to get PhDs.
Yes.
If we're in the hood, if we're a part of the hip hop generation, we're not supposed to get PhDs. You know what I'm saying? But it's there for us. It's there for us. And I can't tell you. And Brother Yusuf, you can let people know once, to be honest, I haven't met so many ignorant people in my life until I got to the University of Illinois in this I'm like, for real. I got there, I was like, for real? Like you all are my colleagues, or some of you all with PhDs who have been here for many, many years. You all are running this game on us? Come on, bro. Right. Man, I'm telling you, walking through that campus on some days, I was like, I could not believe some of the ignorance that I was seeing on that campus. That was being passed off as these are the most intellectual people on the planet. No fear. And let me tell you, it's a great school, and the level of research that's going on in that school is top notch without a doubt. But don't let anybody tell you for a second that you're not qualified to be in those spaces. And I tell you, when we do make it into those spaces, we blow them out of the water. Right. What Yusuf did on that campus is amazing. With some of my colleagues that I know who came to those college campuses, and folks told them that they were not supposed to be on those college campuses. Man, they went. Black students went to that college and blew them folks away with the research that we did, and just broke the mold because they said they were not supposed to be there. And I tell you one more thing, they depend upon our suffering to do their research. Depend upon our suffering.
Yeah, one more time.
And I tell you another thing too. I didn't know that people were researching the Black History 101 Mobile Museum until I got into that space. I picked up books, read about myself in books that white folks wrote, and I would have never known that if I did not go get a grad degree. I would have never known that.
Man, alhamdulillah. Thanks, Doc. Man, We gonna, man. We had 2 hours. No, we about to be wrapping up. But this is the final finale for the season. So we gonna stretch it a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? For the people that's still here, we gonna just thanks to people tuning in. But we gonna stretch a little bit longer because again, this is the season finale, and we got some heavy hitters, man. And we always this the cap off from a heavy hitting year that we gonna go into next season with the heavy. So I want you to answer this question from Sister Shahida. How do we support youth emotionally who have fallen into peer pressure without compromising the deen? That's a question for all of us. The masjid babies in the hood, you know what I'm saying? And not even from the hood, just in general. Like, y'all, you know what I'm saying? You're not a masjid baby, but you've been Muslim for a long time. You've been around these kids. So how do you not compromise your deen?
I'm kind of not clear on the question because I think that, Islam tells us in order to impart any of the knowledge relating to the deen, we have to speak the language of the people that we're speaking to. We have to have a certain level of cultural and contextual competency involving the person that we're speaking to. That's just part of the responsibility of a Muslim talking about Islam. So I don't understand how you compromise the deen unless you, let me choose my words carefully here. There are people that have these alternative ideas about gender and relationships and sexuality.
Gay people,
I guess the only way that I can think of where you'd be compromised in the deen is if you did not have an honest discussion about what Islam says about that. Now, I don't see how you compromise the deen by trying to provide safe space and be there for people. I mean, because the fact of the matter is, guys, it's kind of like, let's go ahead and go there, guys. Let's go ahead and go there, guys. You know how?
Please do.
You know how we, in this current space, everything that is critical and everything that is not supportive of some particular dominant narrative is called hate. And that's very problematic. People conflate disagreement with hate. And the biggest issue that we have on those lines is that if that's the case, our parents hated us because our parents disagree with a lot of things that we did. You know what I mean? And it needs to be kind of the same, I guess, paternalistic attitude in the sense that, you know what, you come to me looking for support for some haram foolishness. Yo, that's some foolishness. That's haram. I'm not going to support you in that. But what I can do is try to listen to you and work with you to try to find a way to navigate you out of the space where you feel like you need to do that. But I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like what you're doing is okay.
Right. Yes. Normalizing vices. We have to stop normalizing vices. That's you know what I'm saying? Like everybody messed up. Every last one of us is messed up in some way. You probably have your character can be out from the outskirts, can be the greatest thing internally, and inside your house you can be the worst. Nobody knows what nobody going through unless you consistently put it out there like that. We have to stop normalizing vices. LGBTQ, that's a vice. You know what I'm saying? That is not a culture. That's a vice.
One more time. We just our ratings now. Say it one more time.
We don't have the drug dealer killer march. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? So, we can't normalize. Like let's stop normalizing vice.
Drug dealer killer.
You know what I'm saying? Like who come with me to drug dealer killer march? Drug dealers and killers say they've been like that their whole life too. You know what I'm saying? But again, we got to stop normalizing that vice. So, alhamdulillah, we got another question.
Silly, dude.
Silly, man. Silly.
You know what I'm saying? How can we all help in mentoring efforts? And I think we answered that question, but we can go over it one more time.
Yeah, I think we. Go ahead.
I think,
rapid fire.
Again, I think as black men, the 4 men that we have here, and plus our brother Kafani, we need to come together as 5 men. Identify brothers and sisters in the community right now that we can reach out to, put our arms around, and love those young folk. I mean, we have to be those mentors that we didn't have. We have to do it. We're charged with that. You know what I'm saying? That is our duty at this moment You know, if there's any movement that we need to be a part of, that's the movement right now. Our babies are dying. They're struggling out here. So they need to see good brothers out here. So it's our duty to do that. Let's get a list tonight, and let's start reaching out to folks.
So if you out there and you got people not go again, this is things that we always been doing. So you got your kids. I'm gonna put the email again. We got again. Hey, don't forget to donate, y'all. I got the little links at the bottom. Don't forget, y'all out there. Don't be sitting around. We like the things that jiggle, but we prefer the things that fold. So you know what I'm saying.
I know he didn't just say that, but anyway. I know he didn't just say that.
Well, but at the same time, like if you got an email us at goodvibesgoodbrothers@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Or look us up on our what's name, and we can get in contact with the brothers. If you got young adults, particularly like tweeners, because that's kind of the age where the madness happened. Again, we all mentor, and we love our little brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We committed to them, been committed to them, and reach out to us. We here. You know what I'm saying? Good again. Email us at Good Vibes Good Brothers. We can jump into that. And I know Sheikh Afani, he been down. He was with us building these programs for these kids and seeing the effect of not having these programs. You know what I'm saying? So. And these kids to this day, they was 14, 15, now they 20, 21 saying like, damn, you know what I'm saying? It was so much different 3 years ago. You feel me? So these programs are so much needed. So continue to support and email us at goodvibesgoodbrothers@gmail.com. We're going to try to stay in contact and try to reach out to those who need to be reached out to. We're almost coming up to conclusion, and our producer is back, and she letting us know. You know what I'm saying? But again, this has been again, it's the closer. So we're gonna go a little bit over, you know what I'm saying? And it's conversations that we just sometimes you get into these conversations, you gotta build up to it, and then when the heat come in, you gotta end it. Or we ain't trying not to end it right in the middle of the heat, you know what I'm saying? And for those who stuck around, like y'all are appreciated, and we need y'all to get this voice out there. This is our story. It is just not the Black Muslim story. This is the Black man story, right? And the Black man story and the representation of the Black man, a positive Black man, no matter what we've been through or done or nothing. We got a consciousness, and we utilizing that consciousness to inspire others who, you know what I'm saying, and then they can continue to inspire us, right? You know what I'm saying? So this is what we do. This is what we love. We love our people. We love you. We love those who look like us, and if you don't look like us and you got a type of heart that we got, we love you too. Now, you got one of them devilish hearts and you look like them devils, then you stay where you at. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
get over there.
Exactly. So, you know what I'm saying? If y'all want to give like some shout outs, again, let me shout out my sponsors again. We got Dr. Khalid. Thank you for that presentation, you know what I'm saying? And breakdown of why we have to support each other. You know what I'm saying? And support Black History One-on-One Mobile Museum. Let me shout out Browndages, again, one of our original sponsors.
That's right.
My man, Imam Rashid Makti and his wife Intisar Bashir, I call her auntie. She they got their team, you know what I'm saying? They put their work in, and they created Browndages for us, right? And what my man Tarek said you can't put a Band-Aid on 100 years of oppression. You know what I'm saying? So only Band-Aid we to let them know that's our Browndages is ours. It's for us, by us, and you got to represent them. Beyonce shouted them out. Lupita shouted them out. All types of people shouted them out. They worldwide, and they just got they right back in stock. So go ahead and get your like often as you think you should, as you do. Just have some around the house. They come in little nice little canisters and all that stuff. Now they got little wraps too. So now they own the popping all over the place. And also shout out to our team of designers at WebPro.
WebPro Solutions.
Right, WebPro Solutions. Probably messing that name up.
Design WebPro Solutions. Design WebPro Solutions.
So much words, man. Design Web Solutions. They created our logo. They do our flyers. My man Ashir and his team, again, that's Black owned. We're gonna keep talking about that. Black owned, Black Muslim owned. He got a team of programmers and designers. You got logos, illustrators. Look up Design Pro Web Solutions, and they gonna get it cracking for you. They own Instagram, they own Facebook, they're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And also, we got to shout out again, Dr. Khalid. Dr. Khalid, give us your handles, where you at, and where they can find you, as far as not just email, but on your handles.
Yep. At B History 101 is IG. Black History 101 Mobile Museum is Facebook. bhistory101 at yahoo.com is the email. And you can call me direct at 313-645-4197. 313-645-4197.
You're putting the number out. Wow.
Put that out there. That's right. And alhamdulillah, Dr. Saad, we gonna about to close it out, right? So, and I want y'all to give some honest feedback and honest nasiha and honesty before we get to the good vibe, good words of good doctor. I know he ready, but you know what I'm saying, he been preparing his mind so deep. You know what I'm saying? He's done like just going into trances. You know what I'm saying? he ready to dig in. But Dr. Saad, give us you know what I'm saying, some encouraging words, some words to live off of and leave off of, and then Dr. Khalid, and then we're gonna go to the good word, the good doctor.
You know what? Take this time that we're in with all this social distancing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the social distancing is necessary for emotional and spiritual growth too. So make the most of the time that you got. That's what I got for you.
All right. Pretty simple. Hey, Dr. Saad, give us your tags if you got some, where people can get in contact with you.
My email is Yusuf, my last name Tyusef, t@cookman.edu. And that's pretty much it.
And you got photography, so you do photography too, brother. Don't
Yes,
say
it
Oh
does.
yeah,
put your business out there, man. It's your time, man.
It's your time to shine.
And you got a dope eye, you know what I'm saying? You got pictures of me out here looking fabulous.
I appreciate that. It's matter of fact, my you can also read me on Instagram at, I actually forgot my own handle. Can actually be reached on Instagram at
photography _self.
Something like that. And my phone is slow.
Comment section.
I think it's SEF1 _ no, it's photography _ self1. It's photography _ self1. SEF #1.
And put it in the comment section too, you know, so the people can know. I think we'll have a producer put it in the comment section.
Yeah, we got it. Dr. Khalid.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that Allah has given the black man and black woman in America a beautiful gift in Islam. And if we don't recognize what that gift is, it's going to be passed on to another people. But once we recognize what that gift is, then everything that we can imagine and more will come to us. We'll be good. But it's on us to kind of spread that word as well. But we got to recognize that gift that was given to us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll leave it at that. And thank you, brothers, for engaging in this dialogue. Very, very important dialogue. And I look forward to next season. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. Honored to be here, man, and hope y'all can find it in your busy schedules to bring us back again.
No, definitely.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. You coming up here. You're gonna come up.
I've been telling you for forever that you better make it happen. I'm like, man, you better get out here and make it happen. So now you here. Now you done got a taste. You know what I'm saying? Now you got a taste. We need your expertise in this world, brother. You know what I'm saying? Brother. We need your expertise. And I try, man. You know what I'm saying? But alhamdulillah. Good word. We got the good word with the good doc coming up.
So when I think about Bismillah, alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah, and some prayers and blessings on the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. You hear me clearly? You hear me good? You hear me well? All right, cool. When I think about, when I think about today, when I think about the episode and the relationships that each of us have, I think the word and the idea and the feeling and experience that comes to mind is belief. And belief in somebody. And that's what our young people need. The belief in somebody is not about what you already see or what you already know. Somebody believed in us and this thing, in this show, before it was even seen, before it was even known. Okay, and all these people and everybody who's made it in life and become successful and things like that. 9 times out of 10, you ask them, who are some of the most important people or pivotal people in their life. Okay, they'll tell you there was somebody that believed in them, that saw something in them that they themselves did not see inside themselves. It's easy to believe in somebody who's already run the races, already beat everybody, already did these types of things. Okay? And don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Jermaine and I believe in ourselves. Okay? Very much so. Sometimes a little too much. but we believe in ourselves. Okay? You ask us, there's nothing like this out there. It's just technology and packaging that get this thing going. But the important thing is when someone else does it with whatever, and you see that comes from Allah. Okay? That when we're talking about our young men, when we're talking about families, when we're talking about communities, a lot of people are they're asking on Facebook Live about mentorship and showing a different way and guiding these young men and all this other stuff. Okay, I'm telling you, wallahi, by God, by the existence of God. Okay, the secret ingredient and the key to mentorship is that you believe in that person, even beyond what they themselves see. And it's something you could say it a whole bunch of times. You could do little nonverbals. You can posture a certain way. You can say certain things or whatever. But it's something that's sensed in the heart. It's something that's sensed in the energy, in the aura. Because it comes from Allah and it goes to the place where Allah is inside of you. Whether people put that label on it or not, that's in your heart. So when somebody believes in you, you become a superhero. You do things that I don't even know or think I can do it, but I'm going to. Because I'm not going to disappoint. I'm not going to take the belief that this person has take it out of their heart. We talked about educators. We talked about white women and things like that. I'm gonna tell you something. There's one teacher. I got Islamic studies teachers. I got my parents. I got different people, family members in my dissertation. Dr. Khalid and I know in my acknowledgments. There's a part of your paper before you start getting into it where you say the important people in your life. So it's a big deal if you say, certain people by name, because this is, your dissertations, that's like your life work for the most part. And so there's one teacher that I had all throughout my high school and college, high school education, college, everything like that. And it was a bald white dude named Mr. Bauer. And why is Mr. Bauer in my acknowledgments? Because he was the only teacher that meant it and said to every single one of these students, Mr. Naeem, Mr. Smith, Mr. Carey, Mr. Hakim, and the belief and that respect was there. Even though the whole system and the vibe and other teachers may not have felt that way, he walked in that classroom and believed that that if we did our best, even though the system and racism and all that stuff, but he believed it in his heart. And even though we knew better and we knew there were certain obstacles or things that he might not agree with or anything like that, he believed. And so we believed along with him. And I got an A in classes I didn't even really care about because of somebody's belief. And so a black man, when we're talking about family, when we're talking about community and religion, everything, one of the fundamental things a black man, and if any sisters, and I'm sure there's sisters here, you want to know how to keep a black man? Here's a secret. Here you go. Believe in him for real. Okay? Believe in him. All right? Especially if he's a good person and trying to be good. Some of you don't believe in people who are even good. You believe in their money. You believe in what is around you. You believe in materials. You believe in things. You believe in your feelings. But I'm telling you, the reason that half of these people cannot keep a man is because they believe in a narrative and they believe in things that are against and aim to break up who we are. And so we take it in closing, and we take it to our young people who now more than ever, our brothers, need someone to believe in them. To believe. And then act that out through investment of time, of words, of advice, of sometimes money, of security, of advice and mindset and things like that. But that's what this is. That's what this is about. So when I look at when I look at us and I look at each other and I look at what Dr. Hakim, what Dr. Khalid is putting forth to us and the example that he sets, he didn't have to say all that. It's belief. And then when it's manifested and then what you believe in manifests and comes true, then it increases your belief. So that's what it's about. And the first thing and the last thing that these white folks want to take away from ourselves is a belief in who we really are and what we really can become. So whenever we can grasp hold of it, whether that belief is inside of us or in somebody else, you better hold on. So that is your good word. Just believe. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. And again, we are on the this is in the season 1, so join us next year, inshallah. And then we fight this Rona and everybody beat this Rona and beat these streets and beat this foolishness outside, that we come back next year bigger and better. Again, if you have a youth, I know a youth that's looking to join it, like get into social media platforms and things like that. And hit us up again at Good Vibes, Good Brothers. We're looking for an intern to help us with our social media platform, to help us, get the word up out there a little bit more, because it's got to be out there more, man. And we're not just limited to Black Muslims and Muslims and things like that. We prefer that our people join in and we build off each other. But again, this is bigger than just us. This story is for our people in general. You know what I'm saying? And we love our people. We love y'all. So again, I'm gonna go down the line, man. This season 1, so we got to count down. So we got to shout out our first, from Dr. Yusuf, not Dr. Yusuf. We got to shout out Yusuf Jones and Sheikh Funny with our very first episode. We were just in there talking about the road and talking shit, and now we done turned into a whole franchise, man. So we got to shout out Yusuf Jones and Sheikh Funny, C-Say for believing in us. At the second episode, we have the hilarious Nadira P and Omar Reagan. Like, we had some heavy hitters on here, man. Omar Reagan. We had who's next? Khalil Ismail and Tariq Toure.
Yep.
We had huge. This really was the turning point. If I really believe it was, when we had Honorable Judge Aaliyah Sabri and powerful activist, beautiful Sawatu Salma Ra. I mean, that for me personally, that was the turning episode. That's when I know, like, oh, it's real. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and then Dr. Khalid, you know what I'm saying? I hit us up like, yeah, how can I put this play down? I appreciate that, man. And who else we had? We got to shout him out. We can't leave without shouting him out.
Eric
Sabri, count the honorable. You got to call them what they are. Honorable Bashir Jones, the city councilman of Cleveland, Ohio. We got Ward 7. We got to shout out the Honorable Eric Sabri, Wayne County Treasurer, Hazel Gomez, and Sheikh Hamza Perez. I got to shout out. You already know Piper Carter and Angelica Lindsay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The village auntie Angelica Lindsay. We had some stars on here, man. Like, people don't understand. So if y'all want to go back and go through the archives, go look on our page, Good Vibes, Good Brothers, and Good Vibes, the Good Brothers, and go on there. We got to shout out just Dr. Ware and Sheikh Muhammad Mendez. You know what I'm saying? That's when we got to run back. People wanting that one. We got to run that one back. You know, we got to run this one back. We're gonna run a lot of back. You know what I'm saying?
Imam Salim and Imam
Hanafi. How can we forget the pops? You know what I'm saying? Our fathers and his dean. I mean, superstar people. Even if they ain't superstars on a broad scale, they're superstars in our hearts because these people put work in. Dr. Hassan Johnson, PhD candidate. Dr. Malik Rahim. Dr. Bilal Maxey. PhD candidate. Auntie Tahira, who murdered it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we closed it out with when we had Moo and Quadir Latif. You know what I'm saying? That was my element. We was kicking, we was shooting the breeze on that one. You know what I'm saying? This has been incredible season, right? Incredible. And I really need y'all like to support and if you into this, we got 50 people watching right now. Alhamdulillah, it normally go and we did the after party and all that stuff kick in. We need y'all to share this and share our page, share our YouTube page, share these videos from the top to the bottom. Get this message out there that you can be a Muslim. You black is all outdoors. You got a personality. You know what I'm saying? You're a human being. You know what I'm saying? This is our form of dawah. We talking to our people the way that we understand. You know what I'm saying? I am targeting my people. Targeting the hearts of our people and from the aunties and the elders and bridging these gaps that I never see this nowhere.
Zero.
In an honest conversation, I don't see this nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's nowhere. And there's people with bigger platforms talking about nonsense.
Nothing.
I mean, we got from MCs to PhDs. Who got that? You feel me? Who got that? Like, who put that together like that? And sincerely, these people come out of their shell and they talk that shit. You feel me? Exactly. Like, really talk that stuff and they be honest. So I appreciate y'all. And now we close it out with two doctors they didn't get caught up in academia. Academia didn't make them studious niggas in the boule. You know what I'm saying? They are really active, you know what I'm saying? They love y'all. So show this to your sons. Go back, show episodes, show Tarek Teray and Khalil Ishmael, show to your sons. Go show that episode of Moo and Quadir, two cats I know was in the soil deeply. You know what I'm saying? Two of the best artists you would ever hear in your life. Ever touch the mic. And they know where your head at, young cats. So y'all got young sons and that's trying to get in the game and they, you know what I'm saying? They want to study bars, go study them cats. You know what I'm saying? You want to get in a political game, go study Bashir Jones and Eric Sabri and study what we put down with Aaliyah Sabri and Sawatu. You know what I'm saying? You want to these are humans, are our people. They're tangible. They can be reached out to. They can be touched. You know what I'm saying? And they love you. So we love y'all. Like we sincerely love y'all. We didn't put this together.
Remember the young soldiers who say
how we forget our young leaders in Jabril Ahmed and also Usaino Torre, right? Men. And this visual, this has got to be this optics of men, not feminized men. You know what I'm saying? I mean men, not extra macho. You know what I'm saying? Lovers that you can't run up on. You know what I'm saying? Lovers that you cannot run up on. If you do, you can try it. You know what I'm saying? But it probably won't work out in your favor. So just love us back. You feel me?
Nice.
And we love y'all. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody, man. All the support. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Hanif. My man Hanif in Oakland holding us down. We got Sister Griselle. Uncle Rafiq just donated to, I think it was him or she, one of them donates some money. Sister Griselle, she always donate. If you haven't donate, man. Get it out there, man. Like we love y'all and we need y'all support. And it's like PBS, you know what I'm saying? And to those who have support, I got to shout out Umi Conference to one of our original sponsors. You know, we got to shout out Sister Keisha. And we got for all who are sponsors, we're going to get y'all some care packages. Just look forward to it. So when you go to the next season, just know that care package coming, but you definitely going to get one for the season. And we're going to try to look out for those who's on the show too. So again, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. This is the last episode, 2020 vision. Gave us a whole insight on things, man. Everybody thought 2020 vision was about getting that money, which a lot of people did get money, but also gave us a clear optics of who's in charge.
Clarity.
Gave us a clear optical of who is in charge, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not playing. You know what I'm saying? And that showed that. So for everybody that lost a loved one this year, may Allah be with you. May Allah preserve us all, man, that we get to this Georgian year. You know what I'm saying? We are already in the Islamic New Year, but we get to today New Year, and we strive for it and keep the 2020 vision of Allah being our conscious. Assalamu alaikum, y'all. I love y'all. Dr. Khalid, you want to give us a close out, OG?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, brother.
Give us a dua, Shay.
Fatiha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin.
Inshallah. Alhamdulillah again. Thank y'all for support. Inshallah, I'll see y'all next season. Enjoy the rest of this month. Enjoy your families. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to see y'all when we see y'all, which will be soon, inshallah. And next season, we're going to start on the bang. And again, you want to reach out, you want to be a sponsor, email us at goodvibesgoodbrothers@gmail.com. I love y'all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.